Hi everyone, and welcome to Age of Wonders Planetfall, which is basically Age of Wonders in space. And more importantly, it's available to play right now. If you want to pick it up yourself, you can click on the link in the video description below, which leads to the Planetfall store page. And also I wanted to thank Paradox for sponsoring this video. And in this video, I'm going to show you the basics of the game. We are going to talk a little bit about it. The game does have a single player campaign, because I know that's quite important for a lot of people, myself included, and you can start playing the campaign as one of the 3 races. There are more races available, however, and from what I understand, as you progress the campaign, you will get the opportunity to play as the other races too. However, you don't have to play through the campaign if you want to check out the other races. You can play a scenario. And if we start a scenario, I'm just going to show you the list right here. Here we got a list of all the races available in the game. There are 6 races total, and each race has access to 2 different weapon groups. Some of them overlap. And for example, the Vanguard has access to firearms and laser, and the Amazons have access to bio and laser. So some of them will show up on more than one race. Anyway, let's go back to the campaign, because that's what we will be checking out. And you can start playing the campaign as one of the 3 races here. As the Vanguard, as the Kirko, or as the Dvar. There is also a very quick tutorial mission. It is quite simple and fast. So if you never played Planetfall before, you can play through the tutorial, or if you want to, you can just start playing a regular mission. So what are the 3 races here? The Vanguard are basically ranged specialists. They have access to firearms and lasers, they can deploy combat drones and turrets, they use propaganda and military force, and they have powerful ranged units but weak melee capability. Then we have the Kirko, which are kind of the opposite, because they are strong in melee, unlike the Vanguard. They have access to bio and psi weapons groups, they have rapid population growth and large armies, they also have swarm shields to protect units in combat, and they have biological units with good melee capability. And they also have fast regeneration. And finally, we got the Dvar, that's the 3rd option to start the campaign with. They have firearms and explosive weapons group, they have powerful area of effect attacks and medium range, they have strong focus on production, and terraforming options to destroy and create mountains. And they also ignore happiness penalties from volcanic terrain. So there's that. We can also check out the tech groups. So the Prometheans are planetary exterminators, eradicating threats with their fires. Create weapons of mass destruction, employ powerful incendiary weapons, settle in inhospitable places, shield units and colonies from Armageddon, and use the thermal and kinetic damage channels. Then we have the Synumbra tech, summon ethereal beings, break enemies' minds, shatter reality to terrorize the populace, and use the sonic damage channel. And on the Vanguard we got the Void tech, command highly mobile units that can teleport and pass through obstacles, create temporal clones of units, and destabilize and decelerate enemies, and uses the kinetic and arc damage channels. What this basically means is that you will have a different tech tree, or rather part of the military tech tree, as you will see once we start playing. So there are 3 different difficulty levels, we got easy, normal and hard, and there's also the hero resurgent option, which basically tells you what's going to happen with your hero if he dies during a tactical battle. And you still win the battle. So he will come back during auto combat only, always or never. So that basically means if you do a fight, your hero dies, but you still win the fight, you can either have that hero back, you can lose him, or you can only have him back if you use auto combat. Because when you use auto combat, then you don't really have control over what your hero does. And he might die when he wouldn't die if you did the fight manually. Well, anyway, we are going to play as the Vanguard here. Normal difficulty is fine. We can also customize our commander right here, and there is quite a lot here. We got all kinds of different perks, as you can see. I cannot change the technology for the actual campaign, but I could if this was just a regular scenario. I can show you all the technology groups before we get started, because I'm sure many people will be interested in that. So let's start a scenario really quick. And here we can go into customize. So we have Xenoplague, that's the tech tree. We have Cynumbra, we have Promethean, we have Synthesis, Celestion, and Void Tech again. So that's that. And I could use like any combination of that in here, on top of picking the perks that I want. However, we are not doing a scenario, we are doing a campaign. We can do it on normal, that should be fine, and we can change the perks we start with. How about we do that? We can make a few changes here. Now, you can only have one perk per category, but we can pick up a negative perk, which would give us +1 or +2 points. And some of them actually have positives. In fact, every single one of them has a positive and a negative. For example, if we pick up Kleptomaniac, we will take 10 energy from our empire every turn. However, we will also get a random mod that works with our loadout. Alright, we can do that. And then we can pick up Veteran for our background. So that will start us at level 3, giving us 10 skill points to spend immediately after landing, and all our units will gain experience 15% faster. I quite like that. And that's going to be it. We can go with that. We can also change our name, we can change the portrait if we like. Yeah, we can have the same portrait from a slightly different angle. It's still the same guy. Sure, why not? That's fine. We can change the colors right here, if we want to. So we can have a red one. And we can change his appearance here as well. I'm not going to play with that too much, but we can do that. We can change his posture. Yeah, I like that one. We can change the background. Here. Alright, done. So let's get started, shall we?
Vanguard Expeditionary Forces. Cryosleep cycle completed. No casualties. Time since launch, 197 years. We're finally back. After a storm destroyed our hyperspace passage, we had to take the long way around. Most of us joined the Vanguard to escape our past. 2 centuries should be enough to give everybody a clean slate. Time to contact Vanguard Central Command. We're heading for Leave 6, the military transit hub in this section of the Borderlands. The crew is already speculating about visiting the Elysium parks. Gambling, booze, and promiscuous androids. Oh well, after 2 centuries of sleep, it's time for some fun. Something is wrong. We have reached the Leave 6 star system, but instead of orbital patrol, there was only scattered wreckage awaiting our arrival. While searching for survivors, we spotted a ship of unknown configuration. Entering the planet's atmosphere, it ignored our hails. Residual void interference prevents us from scanning the surface. The Elysium parks must wait. We have a new mission. We need to assess the strategic situation.
So here are the objectives. Find out what happened on the planet and find the alien ship. The world size is tiny, land mass type is land, it's 97% land. So this is what happens when you first get into the game. Actual planetfall, you know, it's in the title. And these are all neutral armies around here that we can see. So this is us, this is our initial colony. And hold that thought for a moment. Alright, so there's quite a lot going on here. I'll just go through that story really quick. Here's one of our first objectives. So this is basically like a quest. And we can see all of them right here. Some of them are basically your main objectives for this entire mission. Others are kind of like side quests. Here's another one, find alien ship. And these are the rewards we would get. We would get a gunship, which is a tier 2 unit, and 28 research. And here's yet another one. We would get research, production, and cosmite, which is like an advanced resource. But first, let's actually go through all this. Alright, so there's quite a lot going on here. It can be a little bit overwhelming when you first launch the game. So the colony management itself is fairly standard as far as these types of games go. We have unit production right here. We can only produce one thing at a time. because in some games you can build a building and also train a unit at the same time. Not here, we can only do one thing at a time. Here are the buildings, that's the list of all the buildings. Nothing in here right now, this is sector production, this will be relevant a little bit later. Let's not talk about sectors yet. We are on turn 1 at the moment. And here we can change our colonist assignments. Right now we have 3 colonists, because we have population of 3. We have 1 assigned to food, 1 assigned to energy, and 1 assigned to production. So I can click these right here to either prioritize or deprioritize certain areas. And they will get assigned automatically based on the priorities I set. So I can go for something fairly straightforward, like food only, to maximize my growth. That way the colony will grow in 2 turns, as opposed to 3 with no priorities set. And I can also go for something more complex, like for example, I can prioritize both food and production, and I can deprioritize something else, like research. So you can do that. You cannot just grab one and move him manually, you have to set these priorities right here. So that's that. We also have martial law option down here, which we obviously won't be using right now. And there's also food sharing, which is really interesting. Not entirely relevant just yet, because we only just got started and we only have 1 colony, but it's definitely worth knowing about these options. So there are 4 options here. We can take food shared by other colonies to compensate for food deficits in this colony. We can share all of our food surplus with other colonies to meet their demands. We can share half of our food surplus. And finally, we can take food shared by other colonies to accelerate growth in this one. So these are quite interesting. And population is really important, not just for yields, but also because the higher your colony's population is, the more adjacent sectors you can claim for this colony, which we will get into in a few turns. But basically, as your colony grows, you can claim adjacent regions or sectors for this colony, which means this option can be quite good to take food shared by other colonies. Anyway, I'm going to leave this on food and production priority, because we want to grow, but we also want to have decent production. And then we have the structure production, which I already mentioned. There is one important category of buildings here, which is the central structure. You can only have 1 central structure per colony, and it provides a fairly significant boost for how little production it costs. It's basically meant as a boost in that particular area for a fresh colony. So for example, we could get plus 15 food, which would definitely help our growth quite a bit. We could get plus 15 production, which would help our production quite a bit. We could also get science, which again is quite significant. We got 25 science right now, this would give us plus 10. And we can also get plus 10 energy. Energy is basically like money, it's used for unit upkeep primarily. Right now you can see that we get minus 10 because of our kleptomaniac trait, but we already pay 32 per turn for unit upkeep. So yeah, that is quite significant considering we are still on turn 1. But first, let's go for food. Here. So we will take 2 turns to build that, and I can already queue up other things. We can get military skirmisher barracks, which would unlock the Vanguard assault bike. And we could also get specialist training center. You can also right click on any one of these to go into Imperial Archives, which has information about basically everything in the game. We can check out the unit this would unlock. So I can go into that directly, and I can look up the unit. Right here. So this is the unit we would unlock. We can grab that, why the heck not? There's a lot going on here. Alright, so we can build Specialist Training Center after we build the Biofarm. That's colony done for now. Here we got victory conditions. Notifications will always pop up here. Anything that pops up here is usually at least fairly important. And our commander leveled up because of one of the traits we picked up. So now we can actually spend 10 skill points. We already have ranged Specialist 1, which means we can pick up ranged specialist 2, which would increase damage dealt with ranged weapons even further. And as you can see, as I pick that up, our damage here already increases from 11 to 12. We will get actual better weapons later on as well. This weapon right here is not permanent, you can swap it out. If I click on it, we have all the options here. So I could swap it out immediately if I pay. You can also find weapons that you can equip without paying for them from various quests and things like that. So let's pick up ranged specialist 2. We could also pick up ranged specialist 3 right away, which would give us 13 damage with a laser rifle. We could pick up vitality to actually keep him alive. We also have Deadeye. All attacks gain 5% more accuracy and critical hit chance. We got field medicine. Expert field medicine heals all friendly units in the army for 6 each turn out of combat. I quite like that because we will definitely take damage on other units, so we will pick up field medicine. And let's check what else we got in here. We got void bullets. The hero's ranged attacks ignore 50% of the penalties from cover and the units in the way. We got rallying cry. The hero rallies their allies. All friendly units ignore morale penalties for 2 turns. Can be used once per battle. We got infantry commander. Right, there are 3 different commander type perks. This is one of them. All light ground units in the hero's army deal 10% additional damage. Then we have the same thing for heavy ground units and for air units. Initially we will mostly have light units, so we could actually pick up infantry commander to get a nice boost early on. Let's get that. And I still have 2 more skill points I could use for void bullets, or I could save them. Or I can pick up vitality because we don't want this guy to die. That will give us 70 hit points instead of 60. And then we can confirm that. This is quite a nice boost on turn 1. These are some quite useful skills. So here is our actual army. We got several troopers right here. These guys are fairly straightforward. They have an assault rifle. They have a grenade. I like grenades. Imagine that. And here are their other characteristics. So you can see it's a biological unit, it's a core basic unit, it's infantry, it has land movement, it's a light unit, and it's a vanguard unit. It also gains 15% more experience in battle. That's because of one of the traits we picked up before starting the campaign. 10% extra damage because of our commander. They can enter Overwatch, and they have steady aim. They also have defense mode available. This unit ends its turn and goes into a defensive mode. It becomes 25% harder to hit and cannot be flanked. If this unit is staggered, the defensive mode is cancelled. So you stagger units when you hit them in melee, for the most part. And finally, you can also mod pretty much any unit in the game. I don't actually have any mods just yet, but we'll unlock them through research. Same goes for our actual hero. Right now we don't have a drone deployment module, laser. That's something we started the game with here. So this deploys a flying attack drone armed with laser weapons. The drone expires after 4 turns. The summoned unit will inherit any compatible mods that do not grant an active ability. Can be used once per battle. And this mod also grants our unit +1 armor. Alright, so we also got another hero right here, army commander, with some other units here. Laser repeater, targeting field, target enemy unit becomes 35% easier to hit for 2 turns, and again defense mode. Anyway, there's one more thing I wanted to show you, which is that even though this is a campaign, the map is going to be different every time you play it. So I restarted the game with the same exact settings, and here we are again. As you can see, this is a completely different starting location. I even got a different item for my guy. So this time we have an old jetpack, which allows us to jump to a target location on a 3-turn cooldown. Alright, so how about we do some tactical combat? Because tactical combat has always been one of the biggest strengths of Age of Wonders, and it's no different here. I'm not actually in range just yet, but we can attack on the next turn. And if I hover over here, we can see that research facilities are still being set up. We will be able to pick our research on the next turn. So we'll pick it on the next turn. Here, turn 2. And let's go into research right away. So here is the research tree. We can see laser, firearms, and void tech. So in a way, the research tree in this game is built from like modules. Because this section in the middle would be different if we had access to a different weapon group. If I picked something other than void tech, this section at the bottom would be different. So in a sense, we basically got like 4 modules of this tech tree. And we also have society research. And here we got doctrine, economy, and operations. And we have to pick one item in each. So we have nanite support, which seems to be the recommended one, as marked right here. That would unlock the nanite injectors, which is a mod. So once we unlock some mods, we will be able to equip those on any units we own, as well as the hero. It's obviously not free, but we will be able to use that. We can use the nanite injectors to heal this unit for 15 vitality points and increase its resistance to all damage channels by 3 for 2 turns. Can be used once per battle, and additionally it also grants the unit +1 armor. That is quite nice, we should definitely unlock that. We can also get nanite support station, which is a tactical operation. So operations are basically kind of like spells. That's how we can think about them anyway. These are effects that can be used either in tactical combat, like in this case, or on the strategic map. Because there are operations that can be used on the strategic map as well, like this one. Security drones, this is a strategic operation. And it's sustained. So here we got the combat assist system and a nanite support station, which will give us additional options in tactical combat. That's basically what it is. Let's research nanite support then, why not? And then we can open society. So we could go for frontier policies, for example, which would give us +15 food in our colonies, colony militia, and also combat simulation center. Then we have frontier facilities, which unlocks recreational dome, which improves happiness in the colony it's built in, standard military infrastructure, and colonizer. Right, the colonizer is what you need to actually start more colonies. Let's unlock the colonizer then, shall we? And now we can actually do some tactical combat. Let's do that then. This is going to be a slightly one-sided fight, but whatever. And if we set up like this, we will be able to attack with more than one army simultaneously. I would probably normally use auto combat here, because like our power is way higher than theirs. But the point here is to show tactical combat. And here we are, here's our battlefield. Mostly everything on the battlefield can be destroyed in some way. For example, you can pick up a perk for your hero, called Juggernaut, if I'm not mistaken, which allows them to walk through obstacles and destroy them while they're at it. But let's talk about combat mechanics here. One of the most important things here is in the bottom left corner. These are the movement points and action points. And as you move, you will lose action points. You can move into any of the green hexes and not lose any action points. When you move into light blue, you will lose 1 action point. If you move into the dark blue, you will lose 2 action points. And if you move into red, you will lose all of the action points. Which means you will not be able to do anything if you move into the red. And action points are very important, because different weapons use action points differently. So for example, if I want to throw a grenade right now, I only need a single action. If I want to fire my main weapon, I can do it with a single action, but we have repeating fire here, which means more action points is better. However, right now I'm out of range to actually do anything. I do have my other army over here, and here are their attacks. So we have APC mounted cannon, which is a single action only, and we have a grenade, which is also a single action. But launching a full repair drone requires full action, which means I would only be able to move 1 tile if I wanted to use the repair drone. So that's something to keep in mind. This is quite possibly the most important combat mechanic here. And it's important to understand the relation between movement points and action points. Because you don't use action points to move, but you will lose action points as you move. Because moving into the green isn't completely free. I will still use movement points if I move into the green. So I can move one tile, and as you can see, now we got 28 out of 32. Alright, there is also cover, which is another important thing. And cover halves the chance to get hit when attacked through cover. Which, as you imagine, is pretty damn good. Let's just move a bit closer to them, shall we? And finally, there is also Overwatch, which is directional, in a cone. If I use Overwatch from here, I have to choose which direction I want to Overwatch in. So, towards the enemies, obviously. And since I moved my hero into the red, he cannot use Overwatch, because Overwatch also requires an action. Not all units can use Overwatch. The assault bike, for example, cannot do that. Again, just something to keep in mind. Overwatch again, ready here. And the other troopers, like so. Now, from what I noticed so far, the enemy tends to be relatively smart, as you will hopefully see. We'll see what exactly they are going to do. Alright, and I think that's pretty much it. We can still move into cover. And we do have some flying units, they cannot use cover, so it doesn't really matter where exactly we move them. Here, that's it. Now I don't want to do anything else. And they are coming. Here's our Overwatch. It won't kill them, but it will do some damage at least. Okay, they used the grenade. That is pretty smart. Okay, missed. And these guys are melee. And I think they also have a backlash mechanic, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, they do. So when a unit with backlash takes damage, it deals damage to everything around it. Which means we might want to move away from it, if we are going to shoot it. I do have sort of an AoE attack on the assault bike. This one. Wide field laser array. This is the attack pattern. Unfortunately, they are a little bit too spread out, so I cannot attack both of them at once. But I can move back a little. Now, melee also has Overwatch, as you saw right there, but I had to move away, otherwise I would get hit with Backlash. And I do not want to get hit with Backlash. Also, Backlash can trigger another Backlash. Yo dog, I heard you like Backlash. Because Backlash triggers when the unit takes any damage whatsoever. If it takes Backlash damage from another adjacent unit, it will trigger Backlash itself. And you can have this entire Backlash chain, which can be a very bad thing. Alright, let's see if we can kill at least some of them. I could just throw a grenade myself, that's certainly an option here. I might have to move a little bit first. Yep. Okay, what else do we have? We could use a grenade with our other hero. It does have limited range. We can move closer. What's our damage here? 13 damage. Alright, let's take a regular shot then. With the APC mounted cannon. That's a graze. So graze is also a mechanic. It's not quite a miss, but it's not a proper hit either. That's pretty much what it is. I can also use the APC as cover, which is quite nice. I like that. Yeah, this is a little bit too far away for a grenade, but that's fine. Let's take a regular shot. Works for me. And that's another graze. And because I had 2 action points left, I took 2 shots. Because that weapon has repeating fire, as you can see right here. So I could take up to 3 shots if I keep 3 action points. Alright, what else can we do? We got another trooper. I would like to kill the plasmoid if possible. We'll see about that. Also, what about our other hero, Jack? He also has a grenade. I might be able to flank the troopers. Okay, let's move out of the fire first, because it's bad standing in that. Yeah, this is a flanking shot. And we got 2 action points, which means we will take 2 shots. Nice.
Enemy annihilated.
Well, he's down. Now, the plasmoid. Should be able to kill it. We don't really need cover from this direction, because that guy is just too far away. So let's just take a shot like this. Okay, nice one. No grades. We just need any kind of damage. Let's see, the other trooper perhaps? This will not be an amazing shot though. We can see when we'll have line of sight. Okay, 75% is not as bad as I thought it will be. And that's a kill, nice. Yeah, these guys can be quite annoying with the whole backlash mechanic. And they can really take a beating, as you saw. We got a targeting field on these dudes. Might be a little bit too late to use that. Requires a single action. Target enemy unit becomes 35% easier to hit for 2 rounds. Right, well, we will not be using that right now. And we also have a laser repeater with 5 tile range, alright? But no Overwatch. Okay, and we still have 1 trooper, technically. Not a whole lot I will be able to do with that, other than move into cover. That's our turn. So these are the basic combat mechanics. There's more to it than that, but this is basically what you need to know. To know what you're doing in tactical combat. Alright, we can flank that guy. I probably won't be able to kill him. Let's see if we can do damage with someone else. Maybe, maybe not. What about that targeting field? That requires 1 action, but it has limited range. Yeah, we can do that. Here, now he's targeted. I can just take a shot from where I am. That's still 90%. Even though we have a 40% penalty because he's in cover, but we make up for it with the targeting field. That targeting field ability seems really strong. Alright, let's move 1 tile closer, like this. That will not use an action point. And we can take a shot. Nice. So that's 24 damage already. We might be able to kill him. There's a good chance we'll kill him. Yeah, that targeting field ability is actually really strong. 35% is huge. And he's down.
Enemy destroyed. They never stood a chance.
And that's that. That's the basics of tactical combat right there. We obviously won that battle. And we gained 1 colonist. I'll take that reward. And that's also going to be the end of this episode. I will be doing Planetfall a lot more, so you can definitely look forward to that. And subscribe if you're interested. And thanks for watching this video, I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a like if you did, or a dislike if you didn't. And I'll see you next time. Bye bye.